Good evening. This is Reverend Lance with Street Bishops International at streetbishops.com. Our weekly training tonight is going to be about congregation. I had asked many of you what your preference would be that I would speak about tonight. And the preference was, or is, congregation building. And so let's say a few words about that. Okay. The idea of building your congregation is coming to the terms with the idea that people want to be in your presence at a particular scheduled time during the week. Traditionally, Sunday at 11, but it could be earlier, it could be on a different date. And that's what's going to bring them in, and normally that's what you consider your congregation. Now, I know if some of you are doing different types of ministry, you may see your congregation as having a different format. But I think what I'm about to say about congregation building applies no matter what format your worship comes in. And that is, people will come to share with you, will come and worship with you, will be a part of your congregation, or to serve and work with you, whatever it is that you do. If you speak to their desire to be with you, you have to tap into what's the reason for them getting up in the morning and getting dressed and getting themselves with their transportation over to where you are and spending that time there and doing that consistently. It's because they really want to do that. I mean, that's what motivates us. It's about motivating factors. People don't just do it just because they think they should. I mean, some do, but that's not why the majority of people will come and spend time with you. So to grow your congregation, you need to ask people what they want, what they're thinking, what they need, and then respond to that. I mean, I know that sounds simple, but in process, it seems to be difficult for some people to do. But that's what this is all about. If you are speaking to their needs, if you are speaking about things they want to hear about, if you're having the kind of music with worship that they enjoy, then they'll come. If you're just doing what you think you want to do, then most likely they won't. Or if they do come once or twice, they won't come back again. Because they're there not because you've done something that has attracted them. They're there to get nourished and to get nourished about something that they have a need for. And there's a big difference between the two. This is no different than in business. If you open up a business and you're only selling those things that you love and really don't care about what anyone else likes, then you're not going to get much business through your doors. Same thing with ministry. If you're only concerned about those things that you want to be concerned about, then you're going to lose your congregation. You feed the congregation what they're asking for, and you'll flourish. And so, with that being said, then how do you go about finding these things out, right? I mean, so many of you have heard this from me before. I'm a big fan of getting off your duff and getting dressed. Not to be all dressed up fancy, but dressed up nice, and going door to door and knocking on people's doors within a 1 mile radius of you. Just take a pen, draw a mile radius around you, and knock on all the doors in that 1 mile radius. If you live out in the country, it might be 20 doors. If you live in the city, it might be 2,000 doors. So it all depends on where you're at. But the point is that if you go to each door and simply say, hey, I'm the local preacher down the street and I get together on Sunday and I'm just kind of doing a survey of people around, what's the stuff that's on your mind? What's bothering you? What do you need? What are you interested in hearing about? What kind of music do you like? Because even if you don't come, sir or ma'am, I'm sure that your answers will help me serve those who do come. But I thought I might as well ask you, why not? You're my neighbor. And not only will you let people know that you're around and that you're worshiping, when you come to them asking them how you can help them in terms of what they need and what they like, and you're not all just like, hey, do you have Jesus in your life? Hey, do you have Jesus? That is like the most obnoxious, intrusive, abrasive, non-productive, non-congregation building activity in the world. But when you knock on the door and say, hey, what can I do for you? Or what kind of music do you like? Or what kind of things could we do down at our Sunday morning get-togethers that might be something that you like? And then follow that up and say, not that you may or may not come, but you're my neighbor and I'd like your opinion. And when you start asking people and maybe give them some suggestions, say, do you have kids and you need some youth services for the kids? Is it a time when you really would like to drop the kids off and have them have some, social time with us while you're doing something else? Or maybe we can take care of the kids on Sunday mornings so that you can actually be a part of worship. Or, is there marriage stuff that you're wondering about or thinking about that we can speak on? What are your needs? Is it employment? Is it relationship? Is it, are you having a hard time like forgiving people? Because, that can be really tough to do sometimes. And, sort of draw out for them some of the things that they are interested in. What kind of music do you like? Do you like it when we have guitars and drums when you come for sort of a Sunday get together? Do you like it when there's popcorn or coffee or donuts? Inquire. If you knock on enough doors within that 1 mile radius and start asking these questions, you will build a congregation. I guarantee you will build a congregation, because you're not there acting like you've known these people a long time and just saying, hey, do you know Jesus? Because I think that's at a certain point you can have that conversation. But when you first meet people, when you're canvassing the neighborhood, to go and start talking about religion right away is a recipe in this day and age, in 2015, that's a recipe for people just closing their doors and not wanting to talk to you. That's not inviting. That's not the way you bring people into the fold so that they can see you be happy, and then them seeing you be happy say, hey, why, Reverend Lance, why are you so happy all the time? Well, I have Christ in my heart, and I live as best I can by the Beatitudes, and I don't know, makes me happy. You want to know more about it? That's a very different thing than just hitting them in the face with, hey, do you know Jesus? So anyways, but that's how you're going to build your congregation. Do that 1 mile radius around where your ministry is, and just start knocking on doors and saying, hey, what kind of things do you like? It takes a little bit of courage at first, right? It does take a little bit of courage. You have to say to yourself, if I'm going to be in ministry, if I want to grow a congregation, I have to be brave. I'm going to have to suck it up and be brave and knock on the doors and have the conversations. And every conversation you have, you'll refine it, you'll try different things, and you'll get a groove. By the time you knock on that 50th door, you're going to have your pace down. You're going to know exactly kind of what way you want to approach it, the way you want to talk, and you'll kind of get a groove for it. But in those first 50 homes, plan on it. For most people, it's scary, it's intimidating, they're a little bit nervous. So what? So if you spend being nervous, intimidated, not knowing what to do, if you fumble around a little bit and you do that for 50 houses, don't you owe that to Jesus? I mean, if you want to look at it that way, right? Suck it up. Be a little bit uncomfortable for 50 houses. When you go home at night and you've done, 3, 5, 10, 20 houses that you've gone to or more, and you lay down in bed and you're like, that was like the most nerve-wracking, difficult thing for me to do. Then in the next breath say, oh, I did that for you, Jesus. So now I feel better. It was worth it. That was way worth it. If I was doing that just to sell donuts, I'd say it wasn't worth it. But if I'm doing it for my Lord, well then, so what if I'm a little nervous? So what if I screw up a little? But after the 50th house, you'll be fine. And you just keep on doing that. You'll find your groove, and your congregation will grow, because they'll know that you are doing this because you care about them. Jesus was caring about the folks he was around. You need to be like Jesus and care about the folks you're around. Don't dig in their brain to find out what they believe. Dig in their heart and see what they need. Don't dig in their brain to see what they believe. Dig in their heart to see what they need. So that's how you're going to grow a congregation. Find out what they want, find out what they need, and then do your best to invite them and start serving that up. Don't make church about what you think it should be or that's when you're in the shower and you're singing, then you're doing your own thing to yourself and to God. But when you're there in front of the congregation, you're a shepherd. You're serving those who are in front of you. And don't forget your place in doing that. So that's this week's training. I hope it was helpful. And keep sending me the emails to secretary@streetbishops.com and let me know what you want to do next. So until next time, love you, love the Lord, and let's have a good time.